Thank you so much. Welcome, everybody. Ooh, thumbs up. I like this. Welcome, everybody, to the See You Again Masterclass. You can see at Yawen's desk right now because we had some lovely technical issues while half an hour before the masterclass. It's got to mean something. This is probably the space that has the best energy for the masterclass. That is where I'm landing because I went from my office, the internet cut out into Dr. Jesse's room, and then the internet cut out in Dr. Marie's room, and then finally this is where I landed. So this must be the best spot. And there's some sun coming in, so we will take it. All right. So most of you are on here right now have been in a couple of these master classes before, so this message doesn't really apply to you that this disclaimer. There are a lot of new people that also registered for the new people, because this See You Again, the masterclass, was originally designed because a couple weeks ago, we lost a dear member of the practice here at BioHeal and of my practice. And it got me to think about how people in general do endings. And we don't end things very well. We avoid them. We stick our head in the sand. We even procrastinate. We'll be like, okay, let's not do this right now. We'll do it later. Taxes season's coming and we're like, yep, we're going to do it later. So we don't actually finish our taxes until we have to, right? So ending of anything doesn't matter if it's an ending of a relationship, something with the finances, with our health. We don't end things very well. So this is why we're doing this masterclass. It's dedicated on one part to the practice member and the people that we've lost along the way, the good people, because there is a lot I've been hearing from my practice members and from you guys that a lot of people have been leaving this earth plane lately. And so this is to honor them. And then it's also a chance for us to pause and see how we deal with endings in general. Now, the disclaimer, the is that everyone is in a different spot, let's say with their emotions. So if grief is really, really high for you, like something just happened and it's a recent loss, and you can't have this conversation, you need to have the discernment to say, this is not the right time for me right now. It's something that I try and teach my daughter who's really young. And the example always is she used to say everything hurt because she would get a kiss and, it would be better. And sometimes it would be like a little scratch. Sometimes it would be more. Sometimes it would be like not even anything. And she would cry. And because we would come and we'd say, how are you doing? Are you okay? All the things. So we had to have a conversation. And I didn't use the word discernment. We talked about little bobos and big bobos. Little bobos are, it's okay within the first couple minutes. Like you bonked your elbow and it hurts, yes, and it'll be okay. And then there are bigger bobos that you're not sure. And then there's really big ones that you're like, I am not okay. And we said to her, anytime you need to tell us about the bobo, please come and speak to us. And then over time, we'll figure out which ones are big ones, medium ones, and little ones. And the little ones, you don't always need to call us. Like if she bumps her knee at school, she doesn't need us to come get her to bring her home if it's a little bobo. So now she's kind of gotten into the rhythm of, okay, this is a little bobo. I don't need help. I'm okay. Next one is medium. Let's check with that. Let's see. And then obviously the big bobos we always want to hear about. And so if you're having a little bit of grief versus, and you're saying, okay, I feel the grief. I'm able to name it. I'm able to feel it and it's okay. Or even if it's a medium one and it's sort of okay, sort of not okay, and I need to be in community, or I can move through this, or I'm ready to see what's here. And then there'll be big grief and I am not ready and I need to seek more help. Okay, you need to be able to discern that because we are adults. So that is this disclaimer. Everybody is in a different place with the emotions that they're experiencing, and you need to know if it's a big grief and you need to get more help. I am not a licensed psychologist, and if you do need to seek one, then please, please go do that. Okay. And if you're like, okay, I know what I'm experiencing and I have the tools and I have the capacity right now to be able to sit here and move through some of that and see maybe something in a different way, then welcome. And if anytime I say something that offends you or does not resonate with you, then just let it be. And you just take what works for you. And what doesn't, that's okay too. All right. Thank you. I say that in the most loving of ways. So, the See You Again Masterclass is about how to honor the endings that we have and then how to carry forward the wisdom from the endings and live in a way that honors the people that we've lost along the way. And there are lots of good people that we've lost along the way. They are the ones who shaped us, who loved us, challenged us, who've changed us. And when they've left, it's their absence has taught us something about life, about love, and what truly matters. So this masterclass is about endings because who you are when you begin something is not who you are when you end it. So if you think about, who you are when you started school is not who you are when you finished it. You've grown along the way. Who you are when you started a relationship is not the same person as you are when it ends. And so every chapter that you go through changes you in some way. And yet we don't honor all those chapters because we don't end things well. We rush the ending, we skip the ending, we distract ourselves from the ending. But the thing is, the ending is where your power comes from because how you close a chapter determines who you are, how you begin the next one. So if you close a chapter fully in your power, you bring that version of yourself into your next beginning. So you start with the power that you had at the end. But if we never go through the finish line, go all the way through, if we stop before that, then we don't get to harness that extra power or that extra energy. So this is about how do we sustain the energy through the finish line, even if it looks like it might not happen. So even as something as simple as I was doing a course and I was coming towards the end of the course. I was in the last module of the course that I was doing. And I noticed myself thinking, oh, I wonder what the next course is. I wonder what I want to start to learn next. But I hadn't even finished yet. So I was going to not skip the ending, but I was trying to fast forward it so that I could go back to the beginning. And yet, if I ended the course fully with my power, then I would begin the next one with all of that. So what I actually did was I stopped realizing that and becoming aware of that. I just put aside anything that was not what I was currently doing. And I added another step. And when I finished the course that I took, I actually went back and wrote out some of the reflections, some of the hindsight, some of the things that had changed along the way. And that allowed me to see, oh, wow, this is how far I've grown. And this is what I'm taking. This version of myself now that incorporates this is now coming into the next version of myself. And I applied this to so some of you know, I was on vacation a couple weeks ago. At the end of the vacation, most of the time we're like, oh, it's back to whatever. And then what I did was I did a hindsight again on my vacation. I said, oh, what did we like about this? Because we had taken the kids, on their first plane ride. And, you know, I sat down and I said, okay, what did we like about this vacation? What would we do differently? What did we miss? What did we really, really want to frame as a moment that we want to remember? So that when I look back on the year, I'll have a list of the hindsights that I had and list also of how to plan for the future. So in that moment that I'm doing this, what I call hindsight work, I'm looking at the past to see in the present moment and also affecting the future. So I'm actually working with the version of me in all different timelines. I'm working with the past version of me that just completed something, the present version of me that's in the now, and then how could I make it better for the future version of me? Past, present, future. And you can do this with everything. I said I did this with a master class that I was taking. I did this um, with the vacation that I was on. I even do this on a monthly basis. So last month in February there was the vacation, there was Chinese New Year and celebration of that. And I looked at Chinese New Year, I said, oh, how did I enjoy the celebration? Is there something I would have wanted to do differently? All the same things that I did with the previous other examples. And so now next year, I know, oh, you know what? I missed this. You're supposed to in Chinese culture, you wear new clothes for Chinese New Year. And I had forgotten about that until the morning of. Okay, so I let it go a little bit and I waited last minute. So next year, I want to plan that ahead of time and know what I'm going to wear. So that next year I can build on top of that. So you're building a life on top of the next one. So that on top of who you already are. So that each time you're taking that version of yourself forward and then forward and then forward. So the best time to do something great is on the back of finishing something great. So you just finished, you're like, wow, that was amazing. Okay, so I just finished had a great vacation. Great. I'm gonna, in this energy, plan, not every step, but plan for the next one. Oh, wow, I finished this amazing project. Great. I'm going to start and look at what I want the outcome to be for the next one. And one of the things in looking back and doing the hindsight for Chinese New Year is that we went from the year of the snake into the year of the fire horse. And the snake is about shedding one skin, right? You letting go, shedding, letting go. And a lot of people that conversations that I've been having is that people were like, oh, I'm so ready to be into this new year. You know, I'm done with the shedding. I'm done with the loss. I'm done with all these things. And again, what we don't realize um, is that in the shedding of the snake is shedding its skin, and its skin was the version of itself, was once itself. And so the skin that was shed, this version of you that you are right now, was once something that you wanted to manifest. It was the version of you that you wanted from the past. It's who you are right now. So there was a version of you before that was like, okay, I want to finish school. I want to, or get some kind of job. I want to be working. I want whatever it is that you had desired. You have that right now. And so we want to honor that you are something that was a manifestation that you did not have before. And then there's going to be another identity, another version of you that's underneath that old layer of you, that because the skin sheds and then you have this new layer. And that's going to be the new version of you. And then there's going to be another one under that. And so we really want to honor each version of who you are instead of saying, okay, let's get rid of the year of the snake. Let's go into the fire horse and start something brand new again. How about we finish and follow through all the way through the finish line? And we honor that part of ourselves. Had I not done the hindsight work and sat there after Chinese New Year and thinking about this, I would not be able to say, like, this masterclass would not have formed. And so don't rush the end of something. Don't try and skip it. Don't try and stick your head in the sand, distract yourself from it. We want each version of you that ends a chapter to be who you bring into the next beginning. And one of the important things I've learned is like every version of you that ends a chapter of your life is the version that comes in, right? What we do at the end changes the beginning. That's the most important thing. And yet it is something that we want to skip or we want to rush. And so instead of that, we want to finish something all the way through. When you're doing sports, we just finished the Olympics. Athletes don't picture the finish line. They picture running all the way through it. Like the 100 meters, you're not stopping at 100 meters. You're running through it, pass as fast as you can all the way through because they know that you can't slow down at the end. You've got to imagine that the finish line is actually at the 110-meter mark so that you sprint all the way. So really, the top-notch athletes always know about going through it. And then you extract the wisdom because that's where it is, at the finish line. And when you extract the wisdom from it, you don't start all over. You carry the wisdom forward. Who you are can't be changed. How you've changed internally can't be taken away from you. If you've grown courage, if you've grown strength, if you've grown in compassion, that doesn't get taken away from you. That is something that you've cultivated from deep within. So you don't start again as a beginner. You evolve into different versions of yourself. I think it was about 15 years ago. So I had a practice that was in downtown, and overnight it was all gone. I lost it. And at that point, I was devastated. I put blood, sweat, tears, all the things into this practice, and I built it over 5 years. And I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to start all over again. I don't know if I'm capable. And yet I did. And what took me 5 years to build took me 3 months to get back to because I wasn't starting from nothing. I was starting with who I already was. And since then, I've had to rebuild practice, after giving birth to my first child, after my second child, after COVID. And yet the fear has never been there because I've known I've done it before. And you're never starting from nothing, from the beginning. And even if you had to start from the beginning, even if everything went sideways, upside down, and all the things, you would still be able to create from nothing because we are creators. That's our ability, is to create. We were given the ability to create, to imagine, to think. So even from nothing, you could start again if you had to. And we've heard those stories. People are like, oh, I started again with nothing. But as we know, we always have the lessons that we learn. Another important lesson that came was that we're really, really great at letting, let's say, sadness, anger, some of the negative emotions ruin our good emotions. So let's say you had this amazing, wonderful day, and then someone hits your car. You're like, biscuits, I'm sure you use other words, but we'll go with the biscuits. And we let I can't believe that's happened. And we let the sadness or the anger in this case ruin our wonderful day. The opposite can work too. You can let joy ruin your sadness. You can be in intense grief. You can be sad, and you can allow for joy to come in too. So the deepest skills, one of them that we must learn in this life, is the ability to live with duality. And I've said this so many times, but holding both ends of the spectrum, holding the sadness and the joy at the same time, grief and gratitude, pain and beauty, because it's always there at the same time if you look for it. Even on the worst moments, there will be things to be grateful for. On the day that my mom passed, it was one of the most, sad and whatever days of my life. And there were still moments of joy. Even in that day, I was still aware that there were moments of gratitude, there were moments of joy. Oh, hold on 1 second. I would never take a phone, but it is my children's school. So 1 second. All right. I apologize. I am back. No one ever likes to have the phone ring and it is the kids' school. Everything is good. All is good. Yes, there have been so many times where I see it and I'm like, oh no, which kid do I have to go get? None of them. They're both good. I will see them after this. So you can hold both. Like I said just now, you can hold, oh my goodness, and at the same time. Little moments. You can have a memory that comes up. You can have a laugh, a moment of connection, but you have the ability to hold both. And the thing is, we talk about regulating the nervous system. People are like, oh, how do you regulate? You can't regulate something that you cannot feel. You need to have the nervous system be allowed and capable to feel the whole range of it. And if you can't feel the deepest of the sadness, you block off the other end. It's a spectrum. You can't feel the highs. If you can't feel the low, you cannot feel the high because you'll block off both. And so the ability to hold the duality, to be aware of both of them at the same time, two opposite things. You know, we've all experienced that. Some people can feel alone even though they're surrounded by people, right? Have you had that experience? So to, and even more so, if you don't feel the high and the low, and then you keep making the high and the low smaller, eventually you get what we call flatline. And flatline is no bueno, no good at all in medical terms. It means you're dead. Your heart is not beating anymore. The heart has a rhythm. The waves, the tides, they have a rhythm. And the rhythm is in the form of a sine wave in the high and in the lows. The waves, right, has a high and the low. If you cannot feel the depths of all your emotions, you will not feel the height of all of it as well. So the idea is to expand your capacity to hold both ends of the spectrum. So feel the joy, feel the sadness, feel the grief, feel the gratitude, feel all of it in the same day. For once, let the sadness or let the joy ruin the sadness, not the other way around. Let the gratitude ruin the guilt or the shame or the fear, whatever it is, emotions that you're experiencing. And there's also this concept of a beautiful sadness, right? That's where the best songs are written. You look at all the songs that win the awards that are so emotional, like Adele, set fire to the rain and all those things. It's from the depths of sadness that they write these, and everyone connects to them because they know, what heartbreak feels like. And the depths of despair. You know what it's like to, be at the bottom there. We've all seen it. So there's a beautiful sadness as well that you can tap into. There's a sacred rage that you can tap into. There's that never again. This is never going to happen to me again. And I'm becoming the next version of myself through it. Right? There's the phoenix rising from the ashes. It's the David and Goliath moment, right? Before our hero turns into the hero. We can hold it all. Because the sadness, meaning when you're sad about something, when you've lost somebody, the sadness means that something mattered deeply. And one of the best things we can do is to create beautiful endings. Endings that we honor what was, endings that honor the version of who we've been throughout that chapter. And it doesn't have to be the end of a relationship with somebody. It could be the end of any aspect that you want to honor, any ritual that you want to honor. When you go, the birth of someone is also the death of a version of you. And so we want to be there through all of it. The snake sheds its skin, and the skin served its purpose. And now the next layer of skin emerges. And that skin was part of us. Right? You carry the people that have left you in your memories forever. And if the grief is deep, then on the other side, the love must have been incredible. With the deep grief comes the deep love that you had. And if you were given the choice, most people would say, I would rather feel the depths of the grief than not having had that experience or the relationship with that person. And so you feel it. You let it move through you. There's a difference between the emotion and then the state. The emotion lasts minutes, seconds. It's a short-term thing. And so you let the wave, it's a wave, right, of grief. A wave of grief will come. A wave of joy will come. A wave of gratitude will come. Versus the state of something. You're always in that state. So you can look at somebody and say, they're always angry. That's a state of anger. They're stuck in a state of anger. If you're angry for a moment, then it's the emotion of it. So a state means you're stuck in it. You're replaying something over and over again. And when I feel myself stuck in a state, I laugh because I say, I don't like scary movies at all. I don't like horror movies at all. They give me the heebie-jeebies. And so would I watch a horror movie over and over and over? No, I don't even watch them at all. Right? So why am I replaying something over and over and over in my head and then getting myself angry or upset, whatever the case may be, whatever emotions I'm experiencing, over and over again? I wouldn't watch the movie. So why am I watching the movie in my mind? That's what happens when I get stuck in a state, is you're replaying something like a scenario or a conversation, and then you get all worked up again because it keeps going. And then what do? We call our friend and we're like, guess what happened? And then we get all worked up again. And then we call another friend and we said, this morning someone had road rage and, got mad at me and all the things. And then we call somebody else. And then we we keep staying in the state because we keep reminding ourselves of what happened, as opposed to feeling, oh, I'm angry. I'm angry and great. I feel it. I experience it. I process it. And then it's out. And another wave of something else comes in. Does that make sense? All right. And then part 3 is the wisdom from the experience. One of the most powerful questions you can ask yourself when you're going through a difficult chapter is, because of this, who am I now becoming? Because of this, who am I becoming? Not why did this happen to me, but what has this made possible inside of me? My daughter has this saying of, I gave her a hug and she didn't like the hug because it wasn't all of the hug I could give her. She's like, Mommy, I want a hug with all your love. I'm like, oh, wow. Hug with all my love. Okay, well, that just changed your hug completely. And so she taught me, give hugs with all your love. My husband, he's one of the things he's really great about is saying goodbye. Every morning he comes to each one of us and he says goodbye. And sometimes, if I'm in a rush, I'm trying to get the kids to school, get on the bus, I'm like, bye. And I run out the door. I just scream bye. But he is intentional about every single time. And the thing is, we don't know when is the last time that we're going to see somebody. I have patients all the time that come in and we're like, oh, we'll talk about it next visit. And then, for whatever reason it is, I might not see them, or I might not see them for a while. Or in this case, with the patient that just passed, that was the last time. We don't know when the last time will be. And so we can say goodbye in a way that if that was the last time you saw them, then you said goodbye. If it was the last time my husband saw us and something happened to him or whatever, I know that that day he would have said goodbye to every single one of us. And so because of something different that has happened in your life, no matter how difficult, who are you now becoming, or who have you become? Do you maybe say your goodbyes differently now? Do you maybe hug differently? Do you love differently? Do you trust differently? Do you stop waiting to tell people that you care? One of my friends last year who lost her husband, um, excuse me, she now tells everybody all the time that she loves them because she didn't before. And she said, because I lost, now I know how important it is to always tell people that you care about them. And so who did you become because of the experience? Maybe you stopped, maybe you changed your priorities. Maybe you cared less about something and prioritized something more. Maybe you stopped postponing joy. Extract the wisdom from the pain. Every lesson, every realization, every piece of beauty. Because we could have said to ourselves, oh, I should have known better, or I could have done it differently. The thing is, you didn't. And maybe that thing that happened to you was the gateway so that you can bring that into your awareness now, so that you could do things differently. You couldn't have done it before if you were on autopilot. It's a different part of the brain. When you have something ingrained in your nervous system, it's different than when you're consciously doing something, when you have to consciously make an effort. Now, you can get the two so that they are the same. However, when you're in that habitual brain or when you're in a trigger, you don't have access to the conscious brain. And so it's really hard to say in that moment, oh, I would have done this differently. I should have done this differently, because you didn't. But because of the experience, now you can. So who are you because of what happened? Because of this, I became ... Because I took this workshop ... Because I was here and came to work on myself ... You're all here for a reason. No one comes to a See You Again Masterclass on endings. If there wasn't something inside of you, even if you don't know about it, that resonated with this in some way, you just wouldn't be here. Because I didn't advertise it everywhere. I put a couple emails out, and, you know, that was pretty much it. I put it on social media once, twice. That was all. So if you are here, it's because there is something, a realization for you, a piece of wisdom that has been here for you, that is within you. And so that piece of wisdom, once you know it, changes you for always. You will always have that wisdom. So go back to some of your experiences, extract the wisdom from it. Every lesson, every realization that you can. And because those sad moments, they often reveal the most important truths about life. I was telling you before that I once lost everything in my practice. And at that time, I'd been working a lot, like as much as I possibly could to grow my practice. And I hadn't gone on vacation in 5 years. I hadn't done so many things. I hadn't worked out in a long time. I wasn't taking as good of care of my diet as I could have. And once that happened, I was able to reevaluate my life. I said, oh, I'm going to go and see my family in Malaysia, because now I know what's really important. It's not that my business wasn't important. It's also that I'm important, and my priorities, had that not happened, my priorities would not have shifted. And I also hear that a lot from some of my patients who've had, let's say, the worst diagnosis or the worst diagnoses. I always talk about one of my patients. She was diagnosed with breast cancer. This was about 10 years ago. And she was a lawyer, and she worked and worked and worked and worked. And once she got the diagnosis, she did a 180. She's like, okay, I have not been focusing on my health. I have not been spending time with the people who I say are important to me. And she completely changed. And afterwards, she said, this was the best thing that happened to me. She said, getting that diagnosis was the best thing because it allowed me the wisdom that she gained from it was, I know what's important in my life. And I'm going to live the rest of my life with that in the forefront. So every piece of wisdom, go back to the difficult parts of your life, to go back to the difficult experiences and see what nuggets are here that I didn't see before. Am I more courageous? Am I more loving? What is it that I gained through all of this? And that is your gift. And that becomes the portal of your awareness, the portal of your becoming. And then you take this version of yourself and you end this version of yourself really strongly. And then you decide, what am I stepping into for the next beginning? Who am I becoming? What is the next version of myself that I am becoming? Because of the wisdom, because of this, in spite of this. So today, I want to close with a short ceremony for the people that we've lost along the way. This is why when I asked you to register for the masterclass, I said, is there somebody that you want to dedicate this to? So if it feels comfortable for you, I want you to close your eyes. If it's not, that's okay. You're going to take in a slow breath in. And bring your mind to someone you've lost. Someone who shaped your life. Someone whose love still lives inside of you. Now I want you to ask yourself, what is one quality that they gave you? Kindness, strength, humor, compassion, love. I want you to see, feel that quality inside of you. Because they didn't leave empty space. They left something inside of you. And the most powerful way to honor them is to live with that quality every day, in every interaction. If they left love inside of you, how could you bring more love into your life? How could you amplify the love that you already have? How can you amplify the love that they left with you? Take a deep breath in. Let it all out. And silently thank them for what they gave you. Let them know that you will carry that forward until you see them again. Endings aren't just losses, they're transitions. And every version of you that finishes a chapter becomes the version who walks into the next one. So the question isn't, how do I move on? The question becomes, what am I carrying forward? Because what you carry will shape what comes next. Take a deep breath in. Let it all the way out. Spend you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when we speak. Come on, I'm and I'll see you again. I'll see you again. Can't leave so soon. Why'd you have to go? Why'd you have to leave me? I carry on, carry on. It's been enough for you about it. Come on. Thank you for being here. We will see you again.